Yo, I'm back. This is the Foul Hooked Whitey. I'm coming to you not live from East Rosebud Studios in Billings, Montana. I'm back without my partner, Brandon Booty, because as I completed my story, my future, my path, and told you that, I didn't give you any details. So today, I'm going to give you the nitty-gritty details. That's right. Really from the start. But before all that, fly fishing Nielsen ratings came in. And we've literally blown up. We've blown up. People love the honesty. People love the frankness. And globally now we're over 500 listeners again. So thank you very much for being out there. And you know, I'm obviously recognizing what this podcast has done for me, the Foul Hooked Whitey, and done for some of my listeners. And I appreciate that because it obviously makes it all worth it. So when I decided to shut down my Billings and Red Lodge stores, I've talked about this. It was tough really from every angle. But in the 2 to 3 weeks since I completed the podcast series, The Rise and Fall of East Rosebud High School, the feedback and the comments I've gotten from my customers, my fly fishing customers, has been, I mean, I'm just going to fucking come out and say it. It's been the most rewarding thing that's ever happened to me professionally. You know, I mean, other than, you know, watching my baby girl, you know, be being born in front of me with her mother. I mean, just, you know, I mean, it was a big, you know, this has been a big 2-3 weeks for me. And I mean it because of the things that people have said to me. You know, I mean, once I announced my decision to shut it down and move and transition my business elsewhere, the comments have been, like I said, it's, you know, kind of life-changing for me. So thank you. A lot of the comments were personal, and I got that from people. And, you know, that's in relation to a retail store, an important one, but you know, still just a retail store. So as I move forward now, as I continue the painful process of transferring my business elsewhere, I haven't really told anybody where and why. And mostly because getting past the significance of announcing that I'm shutting down my Billings and Red Lodge shop was, you know, it just, where I was going to end up to a degree kind of seemed minimal. Not for me. And not for the people in that community, but compared to the monstrous decision of doing what I'm doing here, I need to tell what the deal is. So I'm ultimately relocating and going to open up in Thermopolis, Wyoming. I mean, you know, unless you're not paying attention to any of East Rosebud's posts, you know, we've been subtly announcing it, including showing the front of our building down there. And it's a big contrast from what I've done, where I've done it. I mean, the difference between Billings and Thermopolis is the difference between a D cup and an A cup, let me tell you. Noticeable. But the reason that I picked Thermopolis, Wyoming is, of course, and this is classic Foul Hooked Whitey, was because of a woman. You know, I mean, it really wasn't my idea. I kind of thought, you know, if I ever would have thought about it, you know, it's kind of that, you know, it's that fishing town thing. It's like, you know, 4 months of peak and 8 months of nothing. But I've mentioned this woman before, and I'm going to continue to talk about the aspect of women in my life, in my business, because, like I've said, they can really impact everything. And you know, this one did. It started out with this woman where she was just a customer. coming in here and there. And damn, I always knew she meant something right from the fucking beginning. Didn't play on that, because, of course, I was married at the time, but it was there. And so once I got to know her after everything changed for me, and I've mentioned this before, I ruined it all. I ruined it all. Here's a good tip for all you guys out there. If you want to stay married, don't involve yourself with drugs and other women. And I admit that freely because that's how much I hurt this woman. And even though I ended that because of me, there's always been this connection. And as we were separating, she was going to come up and fish with me. And she's like, I got a great fucking idea. And I'm like, oh, do you? Oh, fuck, you got a great idea. And that was when this woman told me, my soon-to-be ex-wife, we should open up a shop in Thermopolis. And I'm sitting there going, ugh. I don't know if I wanted to, at first my reaction was hard. Not hard to her, but more just like, I'm not sure how motivated I am to do that. I've done that multiple location thing, and that just ends up being a lot more fucking work for peanuts. That's my experience. Maybe some other fly fishing entities out there that have done a lot of business, they have had better luck with multiple locations. But for somebody like me that the sugar beaver that's working on this big fucking pond in Billings, it's like, I'm not down with multiple locations at this, and so this idea became more and more and more real as I thought about it over the next weeks and months, and it also allowed me to still have a connection to her. That was kind of the deal, whether or not we were going to ever be anything again or not romantically, I still had a connection to her if I did this. So over the next few months, almost, the build up to do this was there for the most part just because of just the investment potential. And again, having a chance to be connected to her still. That just wasn't reality. As things disintegrated personally, and as my business started to suffer because of my divorce and the financial consequences of it, it ended up being, I had to still do this because we got lucky in finding a lease there, but it became less of a priority because, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But as the reality of what I did do became, a fact, her suggestion to open up a shop in Thermopolis might be the best advice anybody ever gave me. Because when I faced not having this to operate in, to make my living in, it's not like I don't have financial options. It's just, I want to stay in the business. And, you go to these small towns and you look for a proper space to lease or buy, whatever. That's fucking hard. Thermopolis is a cool, quaint, beautiful little town. It is, 2,500, 3,000 folk. But there isn't a bunch of fucking new construction there, let me tell you. So the spot I got, which is so fucking legit, Not only is the location unfucking believable, and again this one road town, and it's not one road, but you got to be on the right road, the main road, and I am. And then the other thing is that you better have some fucking parking. When I first looked at places, parking's like fucking number one, because I'm going to do a ton of truck and, drift boat trailer business. So I've got a great parking lot for what I want to do there. But as I looked for a place to lease there, again, this is, 5-6 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, whatever, there isn't any fucking place to lease in Thermopolis. So this same woman ends up saying, hey, I know a blah, blah, blah up the street. And again, that was my wife. She not only made the suggestion, but she found the spot. And I ended up hooking up with a guy who is obscure. I'm not going to drop his name just because, he's my landlord. And, he's just a regular cat. I don't know a lot about him other than the fact that he's from Philly, and he loves my billing store. So my new spot, location-wise, is superb, and the building itself is a former bar. That's right, a bar liquor store. And what we've done to the interior is legit. It's really going to fit my needs as far as what I want to do in Thermopolis business-wise. I'm not going to, divulge everything, but obviously I'm going to retail like a motherfucker. And the substance that I got from my gal, I'll still call her that, set into motion a landing spot for all of the fucking turbulence I've dealt with over the last 6 to 12 months. Her suggestion as far as where, and then her knowledge of the small community there and suggesting what spot, and me being able to pull it off, is why I'm there. So it's funny how I faced the biggest challenge of my life professionally, and not logistically, or not stress, or not any of that, because I crossed the bridge on stress. I just it's not a huge factor anymore. Maybe that's the age thing, maybe that's the experience thing, maybe that's the knowledge thing, right? The confidence. But this evolution for me, and it ties back to what a lot of my customers have said over the last 2 to 3 weeks to me, is that, we did a lot of good work in Billings, Montana as a fly shop and an industry, entity. We really did. And as I faced that crossroads and I made that decision professionally to move my fly fishing practice from Billings now to Thermopolis, 2 things. Number one, it's been so fucking validated that I would have never believed it. Before my announcement, if somebody would have said to me how I'd be feeling 2-3 weeks later, I wouldn't have believed them. But they have literally, my customers, you have literally made the decision I had to make the best decision I ever made in my life. And that's no shit. And number 2, where I'm going to be is all because of somebody that at one time in my life gave me everything and ended up, even in a distressed relationship, giving me my future. So I thank her for that. That's all I got. We'll be back. Foul Hooked Whitey, out.